one half of the Raw Dog Shonen, the One Piece King, Ben. How we doing today? How we doing? We're at chapter 151. I get the idea! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. How's everybody been? It's been a crazy week. Let's get into this chapter and have a good review on this session. So it starts off with the cover page. We got Yamato sumo wrestling. So we see that. Just whipping that. I did a lot of wrestling in my time. I don't know about you guys, if any of you guys did some sports or any type of physical one-on-one combat like that. But yeah, let's get right into it. So we start off this chapter getting a little bit into what happened last time with the Broggy and the other giant, both turning into demons, but other giants, like side giants characters, are getting changed into demon giants now too. So they're all getting that power up and everything. It starts right off with the two leaders of the giants going after Yarrow, the oldest giant warrior. So they're going to head at their main objective is to kill him. He is the oldest giant warrior on record right now that they have, which is true probably because I don't think there's any other giants hiding around that's older than Yarrow that's just magically still alive in this time. So that's the main goal. And more giants are getting changed and transformed into the demon giants too. So with everything being said, it's kind of like we're learning a little bit of what might have happened with the former king of the giants before this, that Loki's father, Loki and Harunen father might have been transformed into a demon with the other 100 giants before that Loki finished off. So we're learning a little bit about that, where I'm starting to imaging that what might have happened and why Loki might actually be a good guy at the end of the day. That just been misframed. So we also see more demon ghosts are getting spawned in, and the former ones that were beaten up are getting back up and everything. It's almost seeming like it's hopelessness. But we also get Ripley understanding what happened to Scopper Gaban and everything, and we're learning about that and how Ripley is just getting to the scene of the crime, and she's like, "Oh no, now it's up to her and her mind. If her man couldn't be able to save her son, she has to go do it now. At least try." So she's heading to go save the kids. More likely, she's going to try to get to Colin, but she's going to try to save the other kids too in the process. What I liked also is in this chapter, we get a full spread of Saint Killingham, and we get Killingham's devil fruit ability. Killingham has, I've written down right here, Killingham has a dragon fruit mythical model Kieran, man beast, which we're seeing the hybrid form of it, which when you see it with the scepter, you also get to see that Saint Killingham is a fishman. So you see the gills on the side, the sharp teeth, but other characters have sharp teeth, but it's the gills on the side of the shoulder blades area that really emphasize that outwards. So we see that, and we see this hybrid form, which it's like a Pegasus kind of form. And I'm probably going to look back into this of what a Kieran is and everything, and I might put an image up here in the chapter review. But we see that. We also see the other Straw Hats that are still up there, like Usopp. We see Jinbei, Nami. Don't see Robin in that panel. So maybe Robin did get it away after that. We don't know where she went. More likely she's probably heading to the library to take care of that from the last chapter. And we see Usopp. I got a feeling Usopp might be the one that saves the giants. I do see it's going to be something with Luffy, but I see like if it has to be something inside the giants to fight this demon out of them, I think it might be Usopp. I think Usopp has that potential to speak to them in a way that fulfills them. But we keep going down through. We see Emu or Gunko, Emu, Gunko. we see them talking about the failure of Harold of the previous king. So we're learning about that, and we're starting to understand the pieces are starting to put together before we get this flashback of what happened. We're starting to understand it a little bit. Harold was definitely changed into a demon giant, and Loki finished him off from there. In the next side of the panel, we get Scopper Gaban falling down, and we see Chopper. Chopper is running in that deer form, trying to get to him as fast as possible. And we see them falling down into the underworld where Luffy and the rest of the crew is at. And you hear Chopper change just in the nick of time, it sounds like, to guard point, which is that big fluffy form of Chopper. So we know that they made it safely to the, hopefully safely to the bottom, but we see later on that they made it to the bottom. And then we get to the panel of Luffy and the rest of the crew, Zoro, Sanji, and the giant pirates, and Loki all sitting there. But we get an understanding of Luffy understanding that was Chopper with his observation hockey is so enhanced now. And we also, I got a feeling in this panel, you can kind of see that Zoro also senses it too. And I don't know if nowhere in that panel though we get to see like if Sanji might have heard them also, but I got a feeling that Sanji might have sensed them too with the Osprey. I feel like those three right there, they all have like a great power of observation hockey to a point that they can sense that anything of other crew members or something like that to an extent. I just think Luffy's is way beyond everybody else's because of his king hockey that he has. And we get into this more side panel of another panel over here we go into, which is mainly Loki talking to the Den Mushi. This time he calls the Den Mushi Shaggy, but we're learning a little bit of their conversation, and we end up finding out this might have been Loki's only friend that he has. So I don't know if this person's on the island or somewhere else. If they're somewhere else, it seems like they're endangered wherever they're at. So they might be outside of the area. They might be in Marijoa or something like that. It's kind of curious on where this person could be and where they're going to be placed in the story. Are we going to see them in Eblaf later on, or are we going to get them later on in the story? I had almost thought maybe this Shaggy person, whoever they are, could have been the person that had the last road poneglyph floating around, and Loki knows about that and just hasn't told anybody. And that might have been the secret that Loki's keeping there, and that's why Shanks kind of put him up there because he's like wants to know where it's at, and Loki's not gonna tell anybody. But I don't. That's a weird theory. That's like down the path of like theories that people would never really think about. But we get the understanding here of Luffy meeting Gaban, getting to know Gaban, but learns him and Zoro Sanji all get the news from Chopper that Gaban was the third mate of Roger's pirates. So we learn about that. He's one of the wings of the Roger pirates. The funny scene though is Chopper's like, yeah, he's the third strongest, and Gaban's like, with the all of his energy that he has left in him at the time, he just puts up second strongest as like a joke, kind of like a Zoro and Sanji kind of gimmick thing, like how Sanji thinks like he's stronger than Zoro, but we all know as fanboys of Zoro that Zoro's in a whole different category than Sanji, and it's not even close. And I like that about that. This chapter gets really quick though, because once we get all the information from Chopper about what's going on up at the top of the sun world, we're learning about that, and everybody down in the underworld is ready to go, and they're all sensing that hockey from Emu, that incredible hockey that Emu has. They're sensing like they're in danger. They have to be the last hope, and everybody that's down there seems like they are probably in what way easily strong enough to take care of all those giants, but it's more of how they're going to face against the three God Knights that are up there. And, well, two God Knights and the one that's possessed by Emu. How are they going to compete with that? And I think we're gonna get that first one-on-one interaction of Emu and Luffy. And I think when we get that interaction, we're gonna get a little bit of like response of Luffy going in Nika Nika form and Emu seeing that for the first time in now so many years until they were probably like in the same crew. That Nika is going to start giving us a little bit more details without really giving us details about not Nika, but Emu is going to give us details about Nika that we don't know yet as the reader, and Luffy doesn't know it yet. But we're going to get a little bit of those information with also being able to just understand what's going on for the future. And I think we're going to find out a little bit more about Nika and Emu and when that interaction happens. And I think we might get a little bit of like a little, I would say a minor flashback. I think biggest flashback we got to get now is the rest of Loki's flashback, because it seems like Loki's a very good, is a misinterpreted person, and he's a very good guy at the end of the day, but kind of it's a little psychotic. But I got a feeling that Loki will probably be the king of the giants, and he'll be the one that's helping Luffy in the final war with the rest of the giants. I think they're looking for a new king, and once everybody understands what really happened in the past, and I think Emu's gonna kind of slip up and say it, like the way Emu's been talking with Gunko, like after he possessed Gunko's body, or she possessed Gunko's body, you're starting to, she's saying it in her head, but I got a feeling like when she sees Nika, she's gonna slip some of those words out and saying King Harl was possessed, and we're gonna learn a lot. And I think Loki's gonna see Emu and be like, all right, now not Emu, but Gunko being possessed by Emu and say with the wings and everything, and say that's the same as what the dad was before I killed him, and all those other giants. They had those big wings. I'm telling you guys, I've been trying to tell you for this whole time. And I think we're going to learn a little bit more of that. Also, I'm just trying to make sure I'm not missing anything from my notes here. I just want to make sure. No, it was a very quick chapter compared to the last one. Like the last two chapters could have been put together and been a bigger chapter if they needed to. But I like where things going. It's speeding up. We're seeming like Luffy and the crew might be letting Loki free next chapter. Hopefully. There is no break next week, so that's good too. So all us One Piece readers that like to read every chapter every week, that we get to have another week of joyfulness of not waiting for a break or anything. So hopefully we get a little bit more of the crew getting back up to the Sun World, which it seems like they're going to take Haruden's ship up to the Sun World, and with Loki, possibly Zoro, and the rest of those giant pirates, and Chopper, and maybe Gaban. Maybe Chopper can heal up Gaban before then, but I don't see Gaban being back into the fight anytime soon. I think on the way up, though, I think Gaban's going to try to, if he's healed up a little bit enough, I think Gaban's going to tell Zoro, Sanji, and Luffy what kind of like hockey abilities that they need to be able to use in order to actually strike these God Knights, because they're not, these are warriors that they have not fought anything to the same power level of. Like, yeah, Kaido is up there, but I still, for some reason in the back of my head, I don't think Kaido could really even want to like fight these. Like, it's like so weird like to say that. We were introduced to the Gorosei, now we're introduced to these God Knights. I do think the Goroseis are a little bit stronger than the God Knights. Some of the God Knights, not others. I think some of the God Knights can probably win depending on the matchups. And we haven't really seen the full potentials of these God Knights. Like, we've seen them using their torture mechanics, but we haven't seen them in a truly, besides Gunko going one-on-one and Summers going one-on-one with Gaban, we haven't really seen their like full peak potential. So I'm a little bit excited about that, and hopefully we can get more of the Giants flashbacks of the history of the Giants, and then maybe I got a feeling that Luffy and the crew is going to lose this, and somehow this is going to lead right to the final war. But I also have a feeling, though, this is one thing I haven't seen. I watch other people reviewing this. Nobody's bringing this up. If Emu's doing this hockey and everything, and they are in like a Luffy and the crew are in a stressful situation. We've been talking about this as viewers. Is this the part where the Straw Hat fleet comes and saves the day? Or I got a theory that they might not save the day for Luffy, but they might get the be there after the aftermath, after they lose or something, after they lose this battle against the demon giants and Emu. So I think like the Straw Hat Grand Fleet will be like heading to Eblaf shortly, and I think they'll be there maybe after the battle, or maybe momentarily there beforehand. The only crew that I don't think will be there was Bartolomeo's crew, because they were last seen got shot down by Yasop's shot. He sunk the ship, so we saw that. So I don't see anything happening with that, but that could go anywhere, and I'm curious on what's going to happen from here on out with Eblaf. I'm worried for the Straw Hats a little bit. I like where we're speeding things up. We're getting the details. Like Chopper came down to the underworld, caught up Luffy and everything. Like Luffy said, he's like, "Save your breath, Chopper." I get the idea, which we got. That's where the title of the chapter comes. And getting that information, and like it's go time. Like Luffy and the Monster Trio are ready to go. Like they're no more joking around. They're ready to battle. So let's end it right there. And I want to hear it in the comments. Like, what do you guys think about where we're going? And are you guys liking Eblaf so far? And are you liking the giants and some of the designs of the clothing of the Straw Hats of wearing in Eblaf? And how you liking Emu so far? Getting to know Emu. What's your feeling on Emu? What's your theories on what happened to King Harold? So leave them in the comments. Let me know. I'll be here next week with another chapter review for 151. Well, actually 152 next week. So be showing up. Hey, if you also got a Switch, let me know if you like the Switch 2, if you hate the Switch 2, or you're like, I'm waiting for more games to come out for the Switch 2. I got mine recently. It's right here. I like it so far. I just wish there was a little bit more games out when it first got pushed out. I felt like they kind of rushed the device out, and I felt like they were probably waiting for the fall time and Christmas time to get that device out. But with all the leakers and everything, they had to probably push it out even quicker. So let me know in the comments on what you think about the Eblaf arc so far and where we're going. And let's end this off with a nice Raw Dog Shonen.